Billiken fans, welcome back. It's Zach Miller and Peter Hale. It's the Midtown Madness Podcast. Before we get going, thank you all so much for listening. Of course, I say it every episode. But please, if you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons, as well as on any other audio platform. Billiken fans, summer is here. It's officially summer. It's hot in St. Louis. It's in the 80s. You're getting out baseball tournaments, soccer tournaments, softball, whatever. Pack up some 2 Men in a Garden salsa in the cooler when you get the wagon. You know what I'm talking about. Get the 2 Men in a Garden in that cooler and take along the chips. And, it's a fine little snack when you're out following the kids around at the baseball tournaments. They are the St. Louis Salsa and Pickle Company, bringing you everything from mild to screaming hot. They got hot mango and sugar-free, classic dill to smoky barbecue if you're looking for pickles. You can visit them online at twomeninagarden.com. Shop your favorite flavors. Learn more about their brands and all they do. Follow them on social media at 2 Men Salsa on Instagram and Twitter. Pete, I am in utter shock because the good this week is something that I figured it would happen in my lifetime, I guess, but it seemed way further off in the distance.
Yeah, Zach. And the good is that a men's basketball rivalry, if you know us, you probably know what we're talking about by now, but It's being restored after a 25-year break. And I'm with you. Like, I figured, yeah, it's going to happen eventually, but I almost thought we would run into each other in an MTE or in a postseason tournament or something like that first. Like, it would happen by happenstance. It wouldn't happen by two teams intentionally scheduling one another. And I'm definitely wrong on that front.
And it sounds like, we'll get into it. Let's not get into it. We actually are going to have on our good friend, Matt Rocchio, the closest thing we have to a Mizzou honk in our Rolodex of social media Billiken friends. And we're going to talk about it. And I'm going to ask him why Mizzou fans are terrible at trolling on the internet. And we're just going to we're going to preview this. We're going to talk about it. The bad Pete, the baseball season has ended without an NCAA or without an A10 tournament bid. Softball makes an early exit from the conference tournament. And of course, that baseball game, the senior day, ends in a 26-24 loss, and we're going to break all that nonsense down.
Can't wait to talk about that one. Yeah.
And then what are we doing here, Pete? Why do they insist on destroying the thing we all love, Pete? Why?
That is a fair question, Zach. The NCAA officially announced that the men's and women's tournaments will be expanding from 68 teams to 76 teams starting in 2027. So from now on, is it good for SLU? Is it good for college basketball? We will get into that as well on this week's episode.
Billiken fans, with the massive ground-shaking scheduling news, the SLU Mizzou series is back on, and the closest thing we have to a Mizzou honk in our phones is our good friend Matthew J. Rocchio, Esquire.
No, that's the other side of the relationship.
How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
We're good. We're good now. We've got some good news to talk about.
Damn right we do.
First of all, how quickly did you hear the news after it broke, and what was your general reaction?
I got pretty lucky. It was one of those where I was just kind of scrolling through Twitter, and I just caught it did I see it first from Frank? I don't remember who I saw it first from, but it might have been Rothstein actually that I saw it first. And Yeah, I was just immediately happy. I'm a Mizzou grad, but I've been covering the Billikens for the last, God, I think this might have been year 6. It was either year 5 or 6, I think. So, I'm on both sides of this whole thing, and I've always thought it would be better. Uh, some people don't like it, but the biggest market for the Missouri Tigers is St. Louis. And, right next to mid-Missouri and the western side of the state, probably number 2 or 3. Number 4 is probably Chicago. And so having a game that is geographically available to probably your most affluent group of alumni up in the Chicago area, your largest group of alumni in St. Louis, and having it both for the Illini game and for the Mizzou game, in addition to having the Mizzou game that they're going to have at the United Center up against Marquette, that's just a smart move for the Missouri Tigers. Tigers fans who are questioning why they would do this, I think are underestimating it. I saw somebody reacting like, well, you don't need to close the borders. Recruiting at home isn't that important right now. First of all, when you look at the talent coming out of St. Louis, I would argue that point up front. But also, again, this isn't about recruiting. This is about having a donor base and a group of fans that can see two very entertaining games, and then you can come hit them for money. And it's also potentially a nice palate cleanser, or it makes you feel like you're cursed in St. Louis. Should you win, you get to erase the Miami thing that just happened in the NCAA tournament. If you lose, though, it is going to be a funny reaction, as they would then be 0-3 in their last 3 games inside of Missouri, with an Illinois game in St. Louis coming, not inside Missouri, inside St. Louis, and they would then have a game against Illinois coming up in a month plus. That it'd be fun to watch Missouri fans react to that one, because we handle losing and things like that really well.
So how much of this, in addition to all the reasons you just gave, is also about just flat out butts and seats, selling tickets, and program revenue? Because now rev share is a really big deal, right?
Yeah, I think that's a huge thing. That's why I think the United Center game comes to be part of it. Both Marquette and obviously Marquette have a huge alumni base in Chicago, and Mizzou having a very large group up there. You're going to get butts in seats. You're going to get people to react. How much of it is the coaching staff, including probably the assistant who's in charge of scheduling or whatever, tired of hearing them getting lambasted for a pathetic non-conference schedule last year, because it was. That helps too. Make sure non-conference schedule look a lot better, because could be a Q1 game for both teams. Probably worst case scenario, it's a Q2 game for both teams. Maybe a Q1 for one, Q2 for another one. So yeah, it's just, it works for everybody all around. And obviously, if you're St. Louis, Josh Ertz has talked about the importance of these kind of games, and it's pretty clear why it's good for a mid-major to get a Power 5 team. But Josh Ertz said, hey, listen, we'll bite the bullet. We'll take 2 at your place, 1 at ours. And for them to get 2 in St. Louis and 1 in Columbia, when technically, they're not in your building at Chaffetz, they're both going to be at Enterprise if that's the current deal as it eventually happens. But man, taking a 2 for 1 and both of those 2 still being just down the street from your home arena, that's an incredible win when you just talk about game construction and schedule construction going forward for the Billikens. Obviously, they jumped on this as soon as it was opened up, and I do believe this was kind of SLU reacting to, we didn't expect you guys to give us a call. Nice, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
Wait, so Mizzou called SLU.
That's what I think. Yes, that's based on how this has been reported. It's with both. Obviously, I think this is something that Josh and Dennis have been talking about. But from the perspective of Mizzou, you probably have to be the ones who open up the conversations and say, especially considering Mizzou is also making a concession of sorts in that it is a 2 for 1, and they never have to play in SLU's home gym, but they are giving them 2 games in their backyard as opposed to just 1 in Columbia. So it feels like that would have had to be something where the Tigers were the first ones to make the approach. But that would have had, I'm just talking about in the last 3 or 4 weeks. I'm sure that Schertz has been texting Dennis for a year and a half and saying, hey, as soon as I get that Ken Palm and that Torvik high enough, you gotta come in with your part of the deal. And as soon as that happened, the very next offseason, they got the deal done.
So I know you're younger than me, but how old were you the last time they played a 3-game series? Do you remember that one?
So was they played in 99 and 2000, didn't they? Was that only just 2 years?
It was 3 because
Okay,
they
it
played.
was 3.
So they played the first one at whatever the dome was called at the time. I don't know if it was
Kielson?
Edward
No.
Jones yet
Oh,
or
yeah, Edward
TWA
Jones
dome. Yeah, so
TWA.
that was the first one. SLU won that one. They played the second one down at the Hearns Center in Columbia, and then they played the third at what is now Enterprise Center, which was SLU's home arena at the time. All close games. Really close games, actually. Mizzou won the series. They won the second two, and they won that third game on a buzzer beater, the one where I was a freshman at the time. So it's interesting to see that this is the structure of this one. When I first saw that I think Frank Kuzmano was the first one to say it was a 3-game series. My impression was that it was going to be at Enterprise Center for all 3. The way he made it sound initially.
Yeah, you got to give him something. You got to give him that Columbia date.
Yeah, for sure. So I don't know. The structure, as you say, it makes a lot of sense to me. But
And that was Kilcoyne. Kilcoyne was the one Martin Kilcoyne
Okay.
was the first one who reported
Got
on
it.
top of the 3-game series that the conversation was when he tweeted this to an Enterprise, one back in Columbia.
Gotcha.
So-
Zach, what do you
so-
remember about that series?
So, guys, I just remember the devastating news of the Enron collapse the day before.
I like that. That's
then
funny.
watching the Billikens lose to Mizzou on that buzzer beater.
Yeah, that was tumultuous time.
To just brutal
So-
time.
So I grew up in a non-basketball household. My parents are diehard Cardinals fans, Blues fans, Rams fans at the time, and we're also the very classic Midwestern family that got really into figure skating in the late 90s, early 2000s. I don't know what the hell I still am very confused.
Michelle Kwan.
Yes, I'm still very confused
Yeah.
why that was such a big thing in so many Midwestern households in the turn of the century, but it was.
Same thing with gymnastics and Carrie Stroud.
Yes, exactly. And for some reason, but not a big basketball family. So I was not tapped into either Mizzou or SLU basketball in the late 90s, early 2000s. I came to basketball much later. The person who brought me into as a basketball fan, my very first I'm going to start watching this on whenever I can, was Allen Iverson. So right in the turn of the century, 01, 02, 03 is kind of when I started watching basketball as a fan when I was like 11 or 12 years old. So this is my first time really diving into it. And that kind of brings us to what I'm sure is going to be a large part of the conversation, which is just why is the reaction between these two fan bases the way it is? Because I'm a Mizzou graduate who went to Mizzou before I was a big college basketball fan. I became a big NBA fan first, and then I eventually started becoming a college basketball fan right as I started going to college. Steph Curry's tournament runs with Dayton were one of the first, or Davidson were one of the first things I really got into in college basketball. So I was late to college basketball, and as soon as I get out from Mizzou, SLU's having a fun run. You got the Rob Lowe, you got the Jordan Jet going on. Like, they had a fun run going on, and I was just like, okay, cool. A local basketball team that I don't have to drive an hour and a half to go watch. That sounds like a lot of fun. And so I have a very neutral, in addition to like my job and my fandom kind of making me into this neutral person on this topic, I'm extremely neutral about this whole thing and don't understand why there's so much animosity. But
Because fuck them.
I can understand the idea. Here's why I understand why from the SLU side, and this is why I don't think this has been articulated yet, but it is a fact, which is for a team in the Tigers who have, and I know this well, I was on the sidelines on the microphone for KCOU when they lost to Cincinnati in the first round. I had called like 13 home games that year when they won 30. And when they won 30 and then they lost to Norfolk State, I called a lot of their home games. So, and then we've obviously seen what's happened lately against the Drakes and the Princetons. It's just for a team that has historically over the last 13 years, pardon my French, shit the bed against so many mid-majors. It seems incredible that the Mizzou fan base would be this flippant about a mid-major. One that also is so well built compared to like the Drakes and the Princetons that have torn Mizzou apart. And this is how you lose: is you play good shooting teams with good movement, that you don't over rotate on defense very often, and so they you can't ever take advantage of a seam defensively. So it's like every SLU fan sitting there saying, look what has happened to you when you play mid-majors that are actually good, tournament level mid-majors. You keep tripping over your own dicks and losing. And so why and where do the Missouri Tiger fans get this level of surety that they are just going to slaughter the Billikens anytime they play? That's where as somebody who just watches the Billikens and is a Mizzou fan, I have fun. I enjoy making fun of them because they're like, you guys are not watching the same Missouri basketball program that I've been watching for the last 10 to 15 years. You guys live in a different world. You know, he's a funny tweeter, but I always butt heads with him. Larry Thornton, who was like, this was a down year for Mizzou this past year. It's like, you can't call a tournament season a down year when you just went 0-18 in conference play 2 seasons ago. That's a down year. I watched the Kim Anderson years. Those are down years, and that's within the last decade. You can't call going to the tournament a down season. And so it's just, even as a Mizzou fan and as an alum, I can't believe the weak sauce that they are bringing to this argument right now. And I understand why SLU fans are coming after them. At the same time, it makes it easy for them because it is classic little brother syndrome. They're saying, hey, you're not as tall as us, and what you want to say is that doesn't matter, but they're just going to sit there and put their heads on your
Mizzou is a middle child. Mizzou is a middle child.
Well, that's fine. When you're the youngest, that still means you're the little brother. As somebody who has an older brother who's the middle child, trust me, he put his hands on my forehead and I just swung away for a few years there. So, eventually I got bigger and I started making contact and he stopped doing what he would do. And that's where the Billikens stand. And frankly, I think they could be there. Missouri Tigers about an hour ago added another backcourt player who's got a solid shot. I still think that when you look at the Crows and the Bryants, I still think the Tigers have a little bit of a roster advantage. But then when you look at what we've seen from Schertz over the last 4 or 5 years, just going back to Indiana State, you look at the roster they've built, there's no reason that a Missouri Tiger fan should be puffing out their chest and being like, well, we should never schedule a team like this. It is a negligible difference right now at the roster, and that's why this game's going to be a blast.
The other factor here, and before I kick it to Zach, who, by the way, for the record,
I have more fun facts.
100% of what was said on our Twitter account this weekend about Mizzou. I don't think I need to tell you this.
No, that's why I commented the way I did, Peter. I love you.
It was all Zach. It was all Zach.
No, yeah, that's
we know.
That's where we I was in my bag, man. I was the thing is I'm punching up. It's very easy to punch up and very easy to deflect punches down.
I didn't get the argument from I'm still confused by the Mizzou fans. If you were routinely losing to Power 5 teams in the tournament, fine, you can make this argument that we don't have to worry about the little brother down the street. But it's every time Mizzou gets embarrassed, it's because they have that attitude. And it would just be really easy to be like, hey, cool, that's fun. But the fact of the matter is, I'm very sure that every time I argue with a Mizzou fan, I'm arguing with one who's from west of St. Charles, probably on the western side of the state, and is Kansas City and hates everything St. Louis in the first place. So that's where they're coming from. They're not making this argument from Tigers, Billikens. They're making this argument from KC and Middle Missouri versus St. Louis, which is a completely different argument, and I will happily fight the Hill people as long as I have to.
It's just I can't. They're not that SEC. Has SEC done nothing to harden these people? There's nothing. I'm not even having fun. It's too easy.
Well, the problem is they're just constantly going up against other Hill people like Arkansas and Tennessee. So it's not iron sharpening iron. It's whatever the opposite of that is.
I love it.
Well, so famous death December 3rd,
Jesus.
2001. Grady Martin, American country music and rockabilly session guitarist. Some people called him the Billy Strings of the age.
Okay, fair enough.
No. It was a Monday. Generation Z, if you were born 2001. Number one song in the United States. Any guesses?
Was Into Club up
2001.
there yet, or was that next?
No, 2001. Because see, every song that was popular in 2001, you think actually came out in 1997. Give me the genre.
I would say pop to R&B. Ooh. Did you watch a lot of Nickelodeon when you were a kid?
I didn't have Nickelodeon by 2000 yet. I'm trying to think. Pop and R&B.
This was my freshman year. I should know, but yeah, like you said, that.
Peter, you definitely should know. Come on now.
It was. I gotta say, it was a horrible time to be, high school and college, like the height of like the.
There was also, by the way, a lot going on at this point in time.
That's too late. Okay, so
Heinrich was sleeping on the couch in West Pine Gym at this time.
I can confirm.
Yeah.
Is that too late for No Scrubs?
Yeah, it's too late for that. That was before that. But
it
was
a rough
Mary
time. J. Blige, Family Affair.
Oh, okay. That tracks.
Okay. Song that I'm not sure I know. Like if I heard it,
you would not. You know it. You know it if you heard it.
Okay. So a few other things about that game before I do have a serious question about this upcoming game. But so a few other things. So that game, that was won on a buzzer beater. Somebody posted the clip, by the way, which was surreal to watch because I was a manager, right? I was a freshman manager right there on the bench. Somebody posted the video of the buzzer beater, Mizzou inbounds with 4.5 seconds left. Wesley Stokes hits like an 18-footer. And he hits like this off-balance shot. I think that made him 2 for 14 on the game because Josh Fisher, one of the best defensive guards in the country, absolutely shut him down. And then he hits the shot. And it was crazy to see Chris Sloan's body language when that went in because he completely hunched over. And so we went to the locker room, and I've never seen this many like grown men in tears. Like we were like that close. The whole coaching staff, every player. Kenny Brown was screaming like, "Man, if we went to overtime, we had them. We had them." Because that was a game that Mizzou led a lot, and we kept it close, and then tied it. We just kept it close enough to hang in there, and anyway, that was like really, really emotional. I remember Coach Romar after that game too about holding our heads up high, and he could barely keep it together at that point. It was a really interesting scene to be part of, and to have that experience in a sold out, what is now the Enterprise Center, just makes me think like this is a series that could come back and truly be special. And by the way, yeah, a huge revenue driver for both teams. But that game was played December 3rd, Zach. One difference this time around, November 6th. Right. So you talk about the roster advantage that Mizzou probably has on paper because that's a lot of really highly regarded recruits coming in. Yep. But it's a lot of different guys coming together who haven't played together yet. And we do have a returning core of guys who have played together, 9 returning players, 5 of them who played significant minutes. I got to think that's something that, maybe gives us a little bit more of a sneaky advantage than might be seen on paper, right?
Yeah, that's a really good point. It being early in the season, having your a better rotation and kind of more set. Because if you look at the Tigers are probably incorporating 4 out of 5 new positions. So you got pretty much Trent Pierce is probably my guess, just off the top of my head. Let me get a roster. Let me get my roster projection for the Tigers in front of me because I'm pretty sure Trent Pierce is the only person who's starting from last season, which means you got to incorporate an entire new starting 5. You got to get Tony Bryant, Bryson Tiller, Jalen Carey, Jameer Jones, and Jason Crow Jr. 2 of those guys are freshmen that you're going to have to incorporate as well. It helps that they've added so many guards. And I was joking today about how like once a week. For the last like 3-4 weeks, they've added guys. They added Cord Stansberry from, what was it, Western California, Carolina earlier today. Jordan Crawfords was a guy who was a 3-star guard. Kennard Davis was a 4-star guard coming out of college, out of Vashon, excuse me. He transfers from BYU. I don't know how much time it's going to have to take for him to hit the ground running. You got Bryson Tiller, the big man from Kansas. Jameer Jones, another 4-star recruit who was at Providence last year as kind of a winger. So they have an incredible amount of people that they have to incorporate. They just all are really talented players. At the same time, the Billikens probably only have to incorporate 2 starters, Alon McKaylee at the 5, and then probably either Sheik Pearson or Elijah Strong, whoever kind of takes up that other big man spot. Those are really the only starters they're going to have to incorporate, because if you go to the rest of the Billiken lineup, Quentin Jones, Kellen Thames, Trey Green, Ishan Sharma, Amari McCautry, that's the 5 big guys that you're talking about in the rotation that you're returning already, plus to the point earlier, Jax Kerr's the backup for McKaylee. You get Cam Hudson, part of the wing, Luke Lukowski, Bedard Diakite. I mean, it's so much depth for the Billikens that they've had in the building now for a year, maybe multiple years, so that will give them the advantage. And a big, curveball will be kind of like the Sheik Pearsons, the Jamison Whites, the Tony Bryants, the Jason Crow. How are these guys who have almost no actual college game experience, how much can these guys impact these teams right out of the gate? That could be the deciding factor.
How the important question, I think, for everyone sitting at this podcast, how the hell are we all going to emotionally handle actually the arena?
I mean, it's going to be a blast. I mean, I was there for the Missouri Tigers in Enterprise this past NCAA tournament. Obviously, the result is not what the fans wanted, but I was pretty impressed by what the fans were able to bring to the table in that game. You add in a Billikens fan base that got activated for the last, 7 games, I think they had shutouts to close out the season. Obviously, the undefeated at home. You want to keep the joke going that, St. Louis, or the Missouri Tigers lose more games in St. Louis than the Billikens do. That's a fun stat that I'm sure the Billikens want to keep going. Mm-hmm. It's going to be wall to wall. It's going to be sold out. I would be unbelievably blown away if it wasn't. In fact, for it not to be sold out, one of these teams is going to have to trip over their own 2 feet and lose a game early in the season. Beyond that, if they're both undefeated, they both win the games they're supposed to win. Even those first, week it is before, 2 or 3 weeks before this game, there's no reason this isn't sold out. I'd be blown away if it wasn't.
This will be, I think, game 2 for SLU, because they play that Monday night.
Just
they
game
play,
2, okay.
Yeah, they'll play a bye game at home to open the season.
Yeah,
and then this one. So yeah, like barring an 0-1 start, but even that, like, tickets would have been sold by then. And I think you're right in that SLU fans are just going to be activated, coming off of all of the undefeated season at home, all those sellouts. I think it just, there's a different vibe around the program right now, and I think the motivation to head down to somewhere that's not Chaifetz Arena, and really put on a good try to match, because Mizzou fans, let's face it, have us outnumbered. But I think there's going to be a lot of motivation to make a statement in the building for sure.
And there's a lot of casual basketball fans in St. Louis. There's a lot of people in St. Louis who didn't go to Mizzou, who didn't go to the Billikens, who, because everyone around them is going to be talking about this game, there's a better chance that they're going to go to this game than any other Billikens game this season. I think that's a huge thing going forward as well.
And there's a good chance that those people given that they have no connection to Missouri, and the only connection is the city, and in the city is St. Louis. I mean, it stands to reason that a lot of the neutrals will gravitate towards the Billikens. So
yeah, you'd hope so, but I mean, it's going to be a fun one. We're going to get like 2 sides of the arena just kind of going back and forth, and hopefully what is a shot trading game.
I have one final question. I have 2 fun facts. Can you tell me the top movie on December 3rd, 2001 at the box office?
This is the problem.
This should be like,
okay, I want to say, because everything in the 90s is so good, maybe one of the greatest movie decades ever. I feel like this is a bad number 1 movie.
The thing you've got to remember about this time period, and this is like, this is still within the first 3 months after September 11th.
Yeah,
and that messed up so many like pop culture things there for a minute, like things that were gonna come out and didn't, or things that were like delayed, and it really messed with like the calendar of. So I'm struggling, Zach, to remember what.
So December of 2000.
Yes, and the hint is, I'll give you a hint. Christmas themes. Christmas themes.
Okay, other than it being a Jesus allegory, I was going to guess the Matrix, but that probably isn't what you're going for.
There were no Santa hats in the Matrix. I don't think there were any Santa hats in this one, but you know.
Okay.
Presents were opened.
2000. Wait, Christmas 2000.
2001.
2001.
Yeah.
That are we talking Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone?
We are.
Let's go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Let's go.
Followed up by Behind Enemy Lines, Spy Game, Monsters Incorporated, and Shrek, courtesy of Box Office Mojo. The top toy at this time were Bratz dolls or the Lego Harry Potter sets. The pogo stick was making a comeback. I remember that actually.
I remember that run.
That
was right after we got out of the swing dancing special in school for some reason.
Yes. So Zach, are you all out of fun facts now?
I have one final question.
All right.
Go ahead.
I have one more.
Yeah, go ahead.
No,
Pete, go ahead.
You first.
Mine is like a short. Mine's a short. We may have the same question. It's gonna be funny when we have the same question.
Have you looked at the all-time series between the two teams yet? Do you have a sense of what that is, Matt?
Thank you for bringing this up because
How many games?
I forgot.
Well, so 40 games. Do you want to take a stab at what the record is in 40 all-time games? Now, a lot of these were played in like the 30s and 40s. But
yes. Are there any ties? Are there like two? Is there any ties?
No ties.
Okay.
They're like kissing your sister.
I'm gonna go with 22 and 8. No, 24 and 16 for the Tigers.
On which side? Okay.
For the Tigers.
You were closer. It's 21-19, Mizzou. So SLU does have a chance to even it up here in the next few years.
Yeah, that's huge. They can get out of this 3-year deal with a lead in the series. That would be, I mean, talk about how huge that would be going forward.
Yeah.
How about the longest streak was 6 games between February 5th, 1947 and 12/21/1963. Longest win streak for the Bills.
Well, if they can match that win streak again, one of two things has happened. Either one, Josh Schertz is here and the reign of the Billiken has descended upon college basketball, and Peter Hale and Zachary Miller are two of the happiest human beings on the earth, or two, they've done a good job in the hiring process after Schertz leaves, and the new coach was able to continue both them being a talented enough team to be ranked high enough to continue playing the Mizzou run. Because I think, to all your points in this episode so far, Peter, this is going to be just such an economic and PR boon for the Tigers that as long as the Billikens are a good enough team, there's no reason why they can't play 6 times in a row instead of just 3.
Yeah.
The largest margin of victory in the series, it was 81-55 to the Billikens. The smallest margin of victory was not the December 3rd, 2001 matchup. It was February 5th, 1947, a 36-35 win for the Billikens.
Barn burner.
Yeah.
One other thing that just came into to my mind. Mizzou hosts Texas the next day in football. Yep. I'm kind of curious what that does. If that makes it even crazier and people are going to try and hit both games, or if it's going to peel some of the crowd away. As usual, when it comes to the Mizzou football schedule, yes,
a lot of things are based off of what time the Mizzou game is at. Mm-hmm. And so that was literally one of the first things I saw Mizzou fans talking about after this got announced. Especially when the November 6th thing came down, it was like, God, if the Texas game is anything but an 11 a.m. start, the Mizzou fandom is going to be raucous and will show up in big numbers on that Friday night. If it's an 11 a.m. schedule, it's going to screw with some of the ticket sales, I think, and that would suck. Maybe to your point, Peter, well, maybe it won't hurt ticket sales because by the time that gets decided, a lot of tickets are going to be sold. It might hurt some attendance as fans are trying to offload those tickets instead of wanting to drive to Mizzou hungover at 7:30 a.m. the next day. So a big thing is going to be the timing on the Texas game. Hope for 2 p.m. Pray for a night game if that's even a possibility with where the rosters on those two teams are going to be, and because that will affect some of the Mizzou fandom on Friday night.
Sure.
The first matchup is funny in the series because it's a 25-23 win for Mizzou, which I find humorous.
23.
Well, that's
we're talking. That's like
hold on.
1933,
Hold on,
right?
but also look at what SLU baseball did this week.
How about that? Wow.
They lost 26-24.
Ooh. How that that's the most I've never seen 50 runs scored in a real baseball game before. That's incredible.
College baseball is not real baseball.
Oh.
No,
Damn.
my final question is right now, give me a line. Take a stab at the line.
Tigers -4.5.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's right around where it will be.
Yeah, neutral site, so 7.5 or 1.5 the other way if it was at Chaffetz, maybe another point or so. It's just we know what the Billikens can be. We don't know what Josh Schertz's offense is going to look like. In the last 4 years, he's had a Robbie Avila. He does not have Robbie Avila anymore. What's that going to do? Mm-hmm. How much are Sheik Pearson's like the one of the biggest wild cards to me. Obviously, the Luke Lekowski and the Bedard Diakite, how much of that is real is a big thing. When you look at a Sheik Pearson, and you just never know how much a guy is really developing when he has the redshirt season and doesn't play at all. So that's why he's in the Bedard and the Luke, where it's like, okay, he's still technically never really played college basketball competitively and in real games. What's that going to do? That's the big wild card for the Billikens. But at the same time, Mizzou's going to be leaning a lot on Tony Bryant and Jason Crow. And so those guys are also who haven't played a lot. So it's going to be really hard to handicap it with just those guys. And we'll just have to pay attention to a lot of the summer workouts. Because if I hear 4 straight months of Bedard Diakite shooting 40% from 3 again, I'll throw my hands up and move that line a little bit closer.
Fair enough. I'm
excited. This is going to be wild. Yeah, I am going to need to be heavily medicated to not get into some verbal jousts.
Oh, just get into the verbal jousts anyway. There's no way they become violent. You're fine.
Oh yeah, sure.
I've convinced myself I'm gonna make it in town for this game. Whether I sit next to Zach or not remains to be seen.
We've got to.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. Here's the thing. How much do you think when somebody throws a beer bottle is the plus or minus margin of error for their ability to hit Zach? Because that's the area, that's the circumference you sit away from Zach. Because you think, okay, somebody throws a bottle, how good's their aim going to be? And also, what could a deflection do? And then you get yourself out of those two circumferences, those danger areas, and you'll be fine. We do have to treat this like it's a soccer game in the middle of nowhere, yes. Argentina. Nobody sits in the middle. Everybody sits on the side.
Yes,
out of bottle throwing distance.
I need security down the middle of the arena. I need the stewards like it's Chelsea against Man United.
Just yellow jackets all the way down the stairs.
Yes,
it's gonna be a lot of fun. I already have Mizzou friends who have lived in St. Louis who are excited about this. Every Mizzou fan who lives in St. Louis is obviously blown away, happy about this. Why wouldn't they? The logistics is great. Like I said, a lot of Chicago Mizzou fans are really pumped for this as well. There's a lot of Chicago Billikens fans as well, so that's going to be a perfect thing for them. They get the biggest game for the Billikens of the season in the non-conference, that is in St. Louis, so they don't have to drive to Columbia for 2 out of the 3. It's going to be a blast. Everyone should be excited. It's good for everybody. SLU should be good enough that even if this is a loss for Mizzou, it's not a bad thing for them. It's better than the cake-ass schedule they were building last year. It'd be nice if Dennis Gates put his team up against a mid-major team that actually moved the ball, played good defense, and had somebody taller than 6'7". That's a great way to prepare your team for what keeps screwing you over in the tournament. It's good for everybody.
Do you think that was the catalyst here? Like the amount of times they've lost to mid majors?
No.
You think they were just like, okay, well, that's a thing, right? Because
I don't think so. No.
Well, I think that's an issue that maybe SEC, Big Ten.
I think it's an overall iron. It's an overall iron sharpens iron. Getting
right,
but Dennis Gates realizes his team is soft as Charmin most of the season. That too. And he understands that a better non-conference schedule, especially for a young team like this, is going to be better, not just for their rankings, but for what they can then do with those rankings in the tournament. My apologies.
But I think, there is something to where, SLU schedules their non-conference. They usually get, it seems like it's teams that kind of match the style of the A10 that feel like, whereas Mizzou is playing, kind of cupcakes and then goes into SEC. So then they get into the NCAA tournament, and it's a different style. Mid-major basketball is a different style. You have very different types of players that you can like. It is stylistically, it's just another world. And I think this has to, I wouldn't put it past a coaching staff to be like, look, like we need to understand this style of basketball. We need to see this, because we're gonna come up against it eventually.
Well, I mean, this is the guy who's best friends with Dusty May, who's best friends. Why am I blanking on the name of the coach in Iowa? I know Bennett Sturtz's name. But why am I blanking on the Iowa coach? Ben McCollum. Thank you. Yes, McCollum, who obviously was coaching the Drake squad. That messed Missouri up. I mean, it's why wouldn't you if your entire thought process is I want my team to be better, why wouldn't you prioritize getting a game where that is neutral site in your biggest market, isn't going to be a complete away crowd. It's going to be a neutral crowd where half the people are going to be raving mad for your team. You do all those things, and then to your point, you get to play a team that runs a style that you keep running up against, and they happen to be coached by arguably, a perennial top 5, top 10 on every coaching search list for the past season. It's going to be like that this next offseason. The guy's a very good coach. Going up against good coaching is one of the things the Tigers need to see more in the offseason. So I think all of these things play into the decision by Gates. And that's why I think this was Mizzou's side, because to all the people saying, what does Mizzou get out of this? I arguably think Mizzou gets more out of this than the Billikens.
I like that.
Rock, I know, following our last episode's guests, it was not easy.
No, it was
not easy. You, beautiful. We appreciate you coming on.
Hey,
always a great insight, way above my head as usual.
One quick thing I want to notice, because I love this, because we had Josh Schertz on right after you guys had on Bovair and Trey Green, and there was one thing that they both mentioned by name. Trey Green mentioned it, and then Josh Schertz mentioned it in our interview on STL Sports Central, which was the fact that Luke Litkowski is so good at a specific cut, they all call it the latch cut now, which I think is just fascinating, that the guy is that dominant in practice, that he's that good of a cutter. Schertz called him the greatest cutter he's ever seen. He's the guy who coached Gibson Jimerson. He's the guy who coached Jason Kent. It's pretty high praise for Luke Litkowski. It's why I'm so excited to see him. I think he might be the Billiken, other than the big guys, that I'm the most excited to see. He's a 6'8" sharpshooter, and he's that good of a cutter. And just the fact that Trey Green mentioned that and Josh Schertz mentioned that tells me that it's not just shining the shoes. Like, that is real praise for a guy who is showing himself to be an incredibly cerebral basketball player as a redshirt freshman. So many reasons to get excited for the Billiken season coming up. That little thing being mentioned by both of those people in a 2 or 3 day span like that, it was absolutely incredible. Now I got to go back and remember what Schertz explained.
I got to go back and edit. I got to go edit that out so teams don't know about it.
Now
we're gonna have
figure it out. Shirt,
Yeah, no-
Shirt straight up told
not
us what the
hopefully
cut
not by
was.
November
Beauvais
6th.
did too. Beauvais described it too, but
Yeah.
Yes,
I
can't
want
remember
to
what
see
it was.
video of it too. But the other thing I'll add to that is, Brady Dunlap hit the portal and they didn't blink. It didn't change what they were going to do in the portal at all. So that told me volumes already. And now, as you say, like they told us back to back. That he's already got a cut named after him and he hasn't played a minute of college basketball yet. I think big things are in store.
How about him saying that Magic Mel is the purest point guard
Yes.
that the Billikens will have in his time as a coach? Like
Yes.
I did not know that that he had that kind of drip and that kind of reputation already in Schertz's eyes, calling him like a pure point guard like that. Because that's not going to be what we see a lot from the Billikens. You're going to get Quentin Jones and I think a lot of Amari McCautry and a lot of Kellen Thames
Right.
as the lead ball handle. I think we might see more Trey Green than previously, as he had a much better season as a ball handler than we expected. But hearing that about a guy like Magic Mel too was really exciting. There's so many different ways this SLU roster can go, and because they're so deep, I can't see a way where it goes belly up. They're gonna be a good team again this next year.
For sure.
I think that backcourt is going to look a lot more similar in the ball handling area that those Majerus teams did, where you had McCall, Mitchell, Jet, and they could all bring it up. It was just, Mitchell was the pure point guard, but all of them were trusted to advance the ball, especially when you're going up against like a VCU. But Rock, let everybody know where they can find you for all your terrible Mizzou. I don't know. I got nothing. I got nothing.
Hey,
I'm out of ideas.
I leave the Mizzou coverage on STL Sports Central to better people than me, like Brendan Schaefer, who does a really good job with the
Wait, are you
Cardinals.
saying that SLU isn't worth better people?
No,
Is that
I'm
what you're
just
saying? I don't like what you're
We have the
insinuating
best. We have
here,
the
Rock.
best here.
I would be bad at covering Mizzou because I'm a fan, and I think that hurts objectivity. I don't think you want fans covering your team.
Are you saying I'm not objective? Are you saying I'm not objective?
That's exactly what I'm saying. My chest, I will say you're not objective.
Hey, if you're scared, go to church. All right.
There you go. If you can, boot up. All right, 10 toes down over here. If you do want Mizzou
aim high.
Hey, there you go. Ball up top. If you do want Mizzou coverage, you can check it out at STL Sports Central. Obviously, tons of Cardinals stuff. How can you not, with how exciting this weekend was, with the tarps off, taking 2 or 3 from the Royals. A lot of Cardinals coverage over on STL Sports Central. We have a website, stlsportscentral.com, but we're always broadcasting on the YouTube, post-game shows, daily shows with Randy Carricker, stlsportscentral.com or STL Sports Central on YouTube. You can check me out on Twitter, ROCCSTL, where I cover a lot of city, give you the Billikens stuff, and comment on Mizzou as a fan.
Hey, leave our boy Betcher alone, okay?
Listen, my God, like, if he stops leaving, 3 feet outside the net alone, I'll leave him alone. Like, I don't know what you want me to do.
Maybe he's a Johnny Klein merchant. Maybe he built his career on the back of Johnny Klein.
My thing with Besher, like, I'm being the nicest to him of anyone else covering this team, frankly. Like, I'm laying off of him in that I'm trying to turn what is undoubtedly a negative into a positive with a little fun. I mean, the guy, I've never seen a more active representation of the yips in my lifetime covering teams professionally since about 2010 down at Mizzou. I've never seen personally covered a player who clearly has the yips. He dribbles the ball through the middle of the field. Ball's fine. It's right on his foot. It's a professional athlete playing his sport at a very high level. As soon as he steps foot in the box, he looks like a 12-year-old who might never have played the sport before. He has the yips. He's a catcher who can hit 300 at the plate and can gun out a runner at first, but can't throw the ball back to the pitcher. That is Simon Besher right now. This kid has the yips. Even in a game last night where he actually was putting the ball on net well, still couldn't find the way to get one past. It's just, I feel so bad for him because he's such a hard worker. He's hilarious in that he's a fantastic shithousery player. I don't know if he was like that when he was with the Billikens. I don't know if you can get away with that in college soccer. He's hilarious because he enjoys being a pest. He enjoys being an asshole to the opposing teams. So I
And
love
that is why I like him.
I love Simon. I love watching Simon Besher play, but it's hard to explain to people. I'm like, he never stops running, and coaches, including DeMay, really respect guys who never stop running, especially when they want to run a high press system. And DeMay's system requires high pressing, and so he likes guys who always are high pressing. That's why he likes Simon Besher. Also, just statistically, Simon Besher is legitimately an above average striker at getting into the spots. And I will always maintain that for strikers, the ability to get to the spots is more important than the ability to finish them. Because everyone can trip over, everyone can just like accidentally chest in the ball or find the right angle with their foot, but everyone can't naturally sense when the seam in the defense is going to open up and you hit that run. Simon Besher has that. He clearly doesn't have the finishing. At some point, it's going to have to give one way or the other. But until then, let him keep pissing off goalies and stepping on people's feet. It's fantastic.
What Rock didn't tell you is that you can also get that sort of highest of level soccer commentary on St. Louis Ambush broadcast this winter as well. He does a fantastic job. I really do enjoy indoor soccer for what it is. It's I know.
Flipping close. God
I know.
bless it.
I know.
That was so aggravating. They're going to get it next year.
Yeah, next year's our year. Rock, thanks so much, man. Take it easy, and I will talk to you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Rock.
See ya. Again, thank you to our good friend Matt Rocchio for joining us. Obviously, there's more scheduling news to talk about, Pete. But first, we didn't really in that talk with Matt, with Rock. I called him Matt like 4 times. And I sounded so weird because I've never called him Matt. It's always been Rock. So I don't know why I did that. But I wanted to get your reactions to the news when you found out. What went through your head?
Yeah, well, first of all, I was just shocked. I mean, like you had called me, and I think I was like cleaning up dinner or something like that. Normal weeknight with the kids kind of stuff. And so I didn't know. And then I kind of, got them upstairs and go in and looked at my phone and saw some like messages starting to come through and just kind of, I think I popped on Discord is where I first saw it. And that's when I knew what you had called about and called you back. And so, yeah, it was just shock, right? Like I didn't really have that in my mind as something that would happen this season. Like every time there's a coaching change at both programs, you think like, okay, maybe this is the pair that works it out. But I think it's not just that. It's just the realities of the economics of college basketball right now. And you have to look to what are the things that are going to sell the most tickets for us now. It's not easy for SLU. It's not even easy for Mizzou. You have so many home dates to fill. You can only get so many high quality opponents in there every year. These things make a lot of sense for teams where revenue share is a real a concern and it's a real driver of what they do. But the other thing that I would say, Zach, is this was, like I said, my experience freshman year being a manager on the team that lost such a heartbreaking game to Mizzou. That was a really impactful like moment, like early in my, years at SLU and just like how much a game like that can mean. And the thing I'll say, like for everybody who thought like, oh, like Soderberg didn't try or Majerus didn't try or anybody after that, what I can tell you is all 3 years after that, after the series had ended, and Brad Soderberg was then the head coach, we left a date open. And this is like from someone who was in the offices, we left a date open for Mizzou as long as we could before we absolutely had to fill it with somebody else. Every year it was, let's do this. This was great for both sides. Let's do it. And they wouldn't. And I don't know if that was their head coach, their athletic director, who I don't know. I can't say from their end, but I can tell you 100% fact. We wanted that game. And I can't tell you Majerus or Cruz or Ford or anybody afterwards, but I can tell you in my years in the early to mid aughts with Brad Soderberg, we wanted that game back and we knew it was good for us. We knew it was good for both programs. So that was all from Mizzou's end, the reason that it didn't get played after that. So I've always had a little bit of a chip on my shoulder toward them for that reason in addition to just the fact that it was just a really emotional loss that first year. I went to the first game, the one that was in the Dome when I was a junior in high school as a fan. Didn't go to the one down at Mizzou. I was at 2 of those 3 games, and they were fantastic. And the margin of victory on those 3 games, either way, I think it was 3, 4, and 2. These were great games. These were games that sold a lot of tickets and had a lot of interest, and it could have, there's no reason it can't pick up right there again. And come off mute before you respond, Zach.
It's interesting because like now you've become essentially, now that you're paying players, you've now become essentially a promotion. So like, and unlike pro sports, you have to build the schedule.
Yes.
So it's very interesting because, you know, with that change to pro sports, now you, like you said, you have to worry about ticket sales and putting on real events. And so maybe that is what gets these power conference teams to start scheduling the boosters running out of money, hopefully at some point. Is this how we drain? Like,
when you start doing the math on a game like this, like where you're talking about 20,000 tickets, right? I mean, like if they sell this thing out, 20,000 tickets split, and I know the money's got to go a lot of different directions, but each school is pulling a pretty good amount of money out of a game like that. For a neutral site game. This is not going to be played in a ballroom in the Caribbean somewhere. Like this is.
We should just play in a ballroom, like the Maryland Heights Ramada or whatever.
One of the casinos.
Yeah.
Get some bleachers in a ballroom. Yeah.
Dude, play it at the outdoor music park.
There you go. So yeah, this I
play it at Bush.
That's a really good point. Is the economic realities have changed, and if you're an athletic director going like, I need as much revenue as possible out of this program, this all of a sudden is a game where you no longer like turn your nose up at little brother. You go, oh wait, if we play this thing, every 2 out of 3 times in St. Louis, yeah, then we play it on a neutral court, a mile and a half away from SLU's campus. Yes. But that's a big revenue driver.
And get a home game.
That's right. So, I think it makes a lot of sense both directions. And I give everybody, especially if it ends up officially being the 3, 2 in St. Louis, 1 there format, that makes a lot of sense both ways. And I have no bitterness or anything. Like, would I like it in Chaifetz Arena? Absolutely. I think my ideal format for this, well, number 1 would just be straight home and home every year. But number 2 would be neutral and then home and home. But if it's going to go like neutral, their place, neutral, like that's fine too. Like I'm
home. I wouldn't mind like home, neutral, home.
Yes. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, we're saying the same thing, just in a different.
Just whatever the order is. Yeah. Now, Zach, let me ask: do you what are your memories of that series? I know you were probably a middle schooler at the time. Grade schooler, middle school. Did you go to the games in St. Louis?
I know I was at a Dome game.
Okay.
I know. Yeah, was that the first one?
We played a few games there because SLU also played Illinois in the Dome.
I'm pretty sure. The game was at the Dome, wasn't it?
The first
were all of them at? Yeah, I think I was at that first one.
The first one was at the Dome. The second one was at Hearn Center, and then the third one.
I definitely wasn't at the second one. I would like to say I was at the third one. That was a Monday night, though.
The Wesley Stokes buzzer.
I know that I might have watched it on TV.
Yeah,
I was 12, and it was a Monday night. So, I think I watched it at home.
Yeah.
But I remember it. And
so you find out about this.
Somebody texted.
What's your reaction? I mean, like I saw you getting chippy on Twitter, having your fun toying with Mizzou fans all weekend. But so take me through that, Zach. Like, what's the ride that this news took you on?
I saw it. It was sent to me by I just looked through our mentions, and the guy who called me fat boy I posted the picture of me, and he goes, "You're insecure, and it shows." Okay. Not about that. I'm insecure about a lot of things, and not about that. Let's see. No, I got a text, and it was like, "Holy shit!" And then I saw it, and I didn't even like question. I just saw John Rothstein, and I was like, "Well, that has to be right." Like, it didn't even for a minute like that it could be fake. You know what I mean? Like, it could be like fucking
somebody
with us
was
all.
because there's that fake John Rothstein account that I think I've muted, but somebody said I had to read like the John Rothstein like just to make sure I read his name like 4 times just to make sure this wasn't a joke.
It was no, I accepted it right away, and I just was like, wait, what? No, like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, like the thing is like I said, I don't know if I said it at the beginning of this episode or off the air, but I'm going to say it anyway. Is like, I didn't expect it this season.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think some of that comes from the fact that I still don't know what we have. Like, I know we have great backcourt. I don't know how great we're going to be. I trust Josh Schertz, and I'm excited about this team because I have seen the plan work, but like, I just was surprised that this was the year.
Yes.
Given that it seems to be a transitional year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think when you say you don't know what we have, I really think it's just we have not really seen Josh Schertz in Division One without Robbie Avila. And yes, his first season in Division One, when he went 11-20 with Indiana State, was without Robbie Avila. Nobody remembers that season. It was the next season and the next season where all of a sudden he's won 32 games at Indiana State and has a national darling. That everybody's paying attention. So that's the big question mark. I don't have a lot of questions about our personnel. I think I know what they do. I think we've got a couple. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit because we do have 4 guys who we talked about with Rocchio who have not played a college basketball game yet and we're really intrigued by. Plus, we have a couple freshmen in addition to them. So we do have a lot of guys we haven't seen yet. But I just think the bigger question in general is what does this team look like without Robbie Avila? But the fact that we're playing this game so early in the season and Mizzou has all of these really talented but disparate pieces, coming together, I guess I'm glad that the game's November 6th and not December 6th, right?
Yeah, I do like that. I do like that it's early in the season. I think it's definitely advantageous to the Billikens. But I'm super excited about this. I have no idea how I'm going to sit through this game in Enterprise Center. I just have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta come in for it though.
We have to do this right with. We gotta do a podcast.
Yeah,
I think we got to do something. Maybe could we get?
We do have 6 months to figure it out.
Yeah, you were a manager at that game. Why can we get somebody? We gotta get somebody live for that. Yeah.
So okay, we'll brainstorm.
Yeah,
like I said, we've got almost.
Let's
6
get
months.
Romar. Or was it
Romar?
Romar? Or Soderbergh?
Sure.
Yeah,
Romar was the head coach at that time.
Okay, yeah.
I would love to talk to him about his recollections of that game.
All right, let's move on to the other scheduling news. There was other scheduling news. The Billikens are going to open the season at home against Lehigh on November 2nd, which is also a Monday night.
Yes, it is, Zach. And Lehigh was 18-17 last season, 11-7 in the Patriot League. They played in the play-in games of the NCAA tournament as a 16 seed and lost to Prairie View in that game. SLU has actually never played Lehigh before, Zach, if you can believe that. What do you think about the opponent, though?
I think this is like when I talk about how, when you're looking at cupcake teams to play, I think there's a segment of the NCAA that is recognizable from a name perspective from one bid leagues, right? I think Lehigh is one of those teams. I think they are a one bid league team that's synonymous with college basketball or March Madness. I think like your Northern Iowa, but they're a little bit more so. But like Lehigh has been there, and consistently they had runs of years where they were in the tournament, and I don't know, it's a name you recognize from the tournament.
So I want to give you the main reason why you recognize this as a tournament name. And that is because in 2012, you're in Columbus, Ohio. You're flying high after SLU wins that first round game against Memphis. And wherever you are after the game, I think I was in, what was it?
They beat Duke.
Exactly. That's what I was getting at. They were a 15 seed and beat Duke 75-70, number 2 seed. So in succession, we saw SLU beat Memphis.
Saw Mizzou lose.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Mizzou did lose right before we. So you saw Mizzou lose to Norfolk State. You saw SLU beat Memphis, and then you left the arena, grabbed a beer somewhere, and what was on the screens? It was Lehigh beating Duke. So that's forever imprinted. In your mind. I think that's why Lehigh.
I think grabbing teams, cupcake teams that have a signature Cinderella March Madness moment.
Oh, I remember them.
You can, yes. You can, I think even the most, and I'll get to it. Actually, let's go ahead and talk about the next one because I think they're kind of the same.
Yeah. So this is a home and go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, for crying out loud, Pete. It's a home and home with High Point. You'd think after 5 years of this, we wouldn't go back and forth.
Zero chemistry.
No, zero. The first game at Chaifetz Arena on November 15th. Wait, hold on. Sorry. The Billikens signed a home and home agreement with High Point. The first game will be at Chaifetz Arena on November 15th. Pete, tell us about High Point.
So the first couple bullets here are yours, Zach, and or the first one anyway, and I'll let you swing back to it. But High Point's going to be the favorite to win the Big South again next season, as they've vastly outspent the rest of the league on their roster and facilities. If you don't know what High Point is, by the way, it's kind of where like 18-year-olds go to retire. Apparently, it's like a rich kid school in North Carolina, and they have amenities that are just like mind blowing. It's like. It's like fountains everywhere, and their dorms are incredibly nice, like 5-star accommodations. The food is just unbelievable. Their rec center is the nicest rec center. Everything about it on their campus is super, super nice, which I think, by the way, is a mistake. I think you got to limit how nice a college campus is. So when kids are like 22 and moving on to the workforce, they're not expecting, like, it's like, no, you might have to have, if you're moving to New York, you're going to have roommates or something, or you're going to have to live in a basement or something. It's just whatever. I don't get it. But anyway, they finished number 68 in the net ratings last season. So even if they're not a tournament team coming out, that's a really hard level for a Big South team to finish at. You have to win a lot of games to do that. SLU's going to play a return game at High Point in 2027. And I'll give you a couple names. Cameron Fletcher. It's going to be a homecoming game for him. He somehow still has one more year of eligibility. This will be
get a job.
Well, he blew out his knee twice.
Oh, sorry. Cameron.
And because he's been around so long, he has that COVID bonus year still.
Jeez.
So exactly. He's one of a few guys left who has that. So multiple medical red shirts, and that he's as old as you can be, basically. Going through college basketball right now. Rob Martin was their kind of star player last year, and he's the little point guard from St. Louis, went to CBC, and then did Indiana State, and then 2 seasons at SEMO before High Point. So 4 years, he played 12 at Indiana State. It's typically over the limit. I don't really know if he's going to get another year. I don't know what his case is, but he's trying. SLU is 1-0 all-time against High Point, winning 67-55 at home on November 20th, 2019. So not much of a series there so far, but I like this as a home and home, Zach. I know there are other A10 fans who have talked about High Point as kind of being a potential like next Davidson or something like that. If we need to go grab a program, maybe they're going to keep spending at a level that makes sense. They don't really have the history to justify it so far, but It's a different era out there, and clearly they have a lot of money. But I want to bring it back to your point, building on Lehigh. What do you think these programs kind of have in common? Do you like this as a home and home for SLU?
High Points upset the 12-5 seed over Wisconsin.
Yeah.
It's like, again, whether or not they're going to be good again this year is, I mean, obviously home and home, it's different because High Point has something to offer us, right?
Yes.
Whereas the bye game, it was much more of a, it doesn't matter who it is, but get some name recognition. This one also comes with some recent NCAA, what do you call March Madness moments? What do we call them? One shining moments?
Sure. One shining moments, plural.
one shining moment.
Many shining moments.
Yeah, well, these mid-major program,
Yes.
one bid league programs, they have their one shining moment, or they have a couple one shining moments. So,
if you recall, we had on to talk about Richmond last season, Griffin
yes.
Wright.
That's right.
Yeah, so he's a lifelong Richmond fan, grew up in Richmond, went to High Point. We should have asked him about the dorms. But so he goes to High Point. He's a student announcer, and he has that big viral moment, not this past March, but in March of 25, when High Point made their first ever NCAA tournament by winning the Big South tournament. He and his co-announcer, who I should name as well, Jimmy Rosselli, went viral for their reaction to High Point winning the Big South, right? So they're like a national, like, great story. One of those things that makes the NCAA tournament great. Well, now High Point has made the tournament 2 years in a row. So you go from a Cinderella with these student announcers and being this great story to a program that is by far outspending the rest of your league and finishing in the top 70. Again, the top 70 in the net for a conference that is normally one of the bottom 5 or 6 conferences in all of college basketball is almost a mathematical impossibility. This is a legit program. So I like it for that reason alone, Zach.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. And we can get down to High Point and catch a game at that ridiculous arena they have.
Oh, that would be sweet.
It's really nice.
It's a really cool looking place. Very unique.
Kalu Anya, Pete. He's heading to Virginia on or he announced his commitment to Virginia on Wednesday. What's your thoughts on this?
Little surprised. I wasn't sure. So when he redshirted and then transferred out, the thought would be, okay, SLU has upgraded its roster to a degree that he just doesn't see a lane to minutes, right? So my thought was his priority is big minutes. And so when you go to Virginia in the ACC, that doesn't jump out to me, Zach, as like a place he's going to go play big minutes. Now, will he be in the rotation? Yeah, I think so. I doubt he'd be a starter there. But I thought he would find somewhere, Kalu being Kalu, somewhere high academic, play one more year and start, right? So Virginia, obviously a great academic school, to go do a graduate year, but it did surprise me because it's going to be a battle to see the floor there compared to some of these other places. Now, I do think he's the right level of players if he just wants to accept a role, make one more year of NIL, get a good master's degree or something like that. It makes a lot of sense. It's just not what I expected him to do based on his pattern the last 2 seasons. Was this a surprise to you at all?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what, certainly I could see him being at Virginia. If he's at Virginia, it's kind of surprising that he didn't return.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It was surprising, but yeah, I like it for him. Hey, you know what? Say sometimes you just want to go and, play a senior season and win some games and call it a career.
Sure.
Pete, some news out of Chaffetz Arena, non-basketball specific, and that is concourse renovations are underway to add 2 new bars and 2 grab-and-go markets to the concourse.
Yeah. So Zach, this is very much a you
Oh,
segment. So
yes.
I will just say like these, so we got some photos of these, right? Like they're
Yeah.
scheduled to be completed in August, so it's well ahead of the basketball season. These are going to serve people going to concerts and stuff well before we get any basketball games in there. But I need to get your thoughts on this. What is it that you want in an arena concourse bar? And what are you seeing from these like photos or anything so far?
Oh man, I got to go back
That's
and look at the photos.
okay. The
Um,
other thing I'll ask is, have you seen any examples of like that grab and go format so far? Because we do have those here at TQL Stadium for FC
yeah.
Cincinnati games.
Yeah, it looks like so City has them where you can literally just swipe your card on the way in and
Hmm.
then grab whatever you get and then it'll follow you through the thing and like check you
Yep.
out for whatever you got. I want for grab and go, I mean obviously like I think that would be super cool. I think you're probably going to see more self checkout. But also that's already there. I think they already have self checkout in a couple locations. And then for the bar, I want to see just a place that people can congregate.
Hmm.
I mean, I'd like for there to be some food there too, but yeah, just kind of more of just I guess not a concession stand, again a bar. So kind of what that 1818 lounge should be.
Hmm.
I think I've talked about it a million times. Everyone who's listened to this show forever has heard me bitch about it. So everything that is, just replicate that. Some seating areas where people can hang out. Some TVs. Obviously, I think you need TVs with other games on before the game or warm ups if you want to do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I like the renderings here. It's hard to tell. Like it looks like it's all together. Um, but I like the name Pick and Roll Grab and Go Market. That's kind of fun.
Sure. Yeah.
That's a
I think
great. That's a good name.
it's a perfect name.
And then 314 bar. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea. I think it's the arena experience is so important. Everybody's heard me say that for way too long.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, no, Bush Stadium has them too.
So how do they work there? Is it the same format as like City?
You know what? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I haven't actually done the ones at the FC Cincinnati games because I'm normally with my son and we kind of have like a routine and
Yeah, some of them are hybrid situations where they're grab and go, and then there's a person to check you out. So like you'll grab everything and then go to the checkout.
yeah, that's how it was. So at George Washington they had this kind of thing and they don't really have a concourse. They have like there's like four kind of half atrium areas, like atrium slash stairwells in the corners, like where you come in, and then there's kind of like a couple like basement, not even they're too narrow to be concourses. They're like hallways, and they've got a couple snack bars in there, and because
Sounds
of
to me like West Pine Gym.
it's almost like a cafeteria where there's like a queue and you like come around and then you like kind of you're in line and you grab what
Yeah,
you want and it's almost like self-scan. They do have to check your ID if you're grabbing a beer, which is what we did. We got the dribbling George's lager, of course. But
yeah.
yeah, so that's the only place where I've actually really used that sort of function, and I thought it worked pretty well there. It's one of those things like maybe your first time using it, it's a little confusing, but then after that, it's pretty much a breeze.
Um, yeah, yeah, we'll see, man. I'm excited for anything that enhances the fan experience at Chaffetz.
Yeah, for sure. Good.
Pete, let's talk about the death of the NCAA tournament here. We had a good run. It has now jumped the shark. It has gone Arthur Fonzarelli.
Yep.
We've lost the plot, and the tournament's moving to 76 teams.
Yeah, so the announcement was official a little under 2 weeks ago, Zach. Of course, like right after our last show, we took a week off. 68 team format is out, 76 teams is in. What's your initial reaction here?
Boom.
I think we're pretty much in the same place. The first four, or the play-in games, as we usually call it, now becomes a 12-game opening round, expanding from 2 games a day to 6 games a day. These games will include the 12 lowest seeded automatic qualifiers, so conference tournament winners, and the 12 lowest seeded at-large teams. So
I have a question.
yeah.
We now have 76 teams. So here's where I see this ruining the sport.
Mm-hmm.
We sat. I'm on Billikens.com, and there's posts about there's Mizzou, quad 1, quad 2. We're talking about the quad system, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to talk about? Like, we're in the tournament.
Yeah.
What is it? Like, nothing matters at this point.
Why
are we building a better schedule? Like, I get it, money and whatnot, tickets, but there's no incentive anymore to do anything other than win games.
I still think there is for us. So if you're in a power conference, you basically just need to be like a top 2/3 team in your league anymore. If you're in an 18 team league, as some of them are, if you're a top 12 team, you're in. And we'll go over a second who that would have been. Because like, if you look at last year's tournament, a couple months ago, the 2026 tournament. So Kevin Sweeney of College Basketball Central put it together and said, this is what it looks like. You would have the same 4 play-ins that you already had, right? So at the 11 level, you had Texas and NC State, SMU, and Miami, Ohio. So those stay. Right. And then you have the 16 seeds, Lehigh and Prairie View, as we already talked about, and Howard and UMBC. So those stay. Then here's the rest. Auburn, San Diego State would have been 11. Indiana and Oklahoma probably would have been 12 seeds. Oklahoma State and Virginia Tech, 12 seeds. And Arizona State and Cal probably would have been 13 seeds. There's your cutoff point for at-large. So that's 8 teams that, in our Twitter feed anyway, nobody wanted in the tournament who was not a fan of those programs, right? And then all of your other seeds at the bottom of the tournament get pushed down. So now you have Idaho, Tennessee State as a 15 play-in, Kennesaw State, Wright State as a 15 play-in, and then 2 more 16 play-in games, Furman, Siena, and Queens and Long Island. All of those would play into the rest of the 64-team field, which would then play Thursday and Friday and beyond as normal. So, Zach, when you look at those 8 teams who wouldn't have gotten in before, it's 2 from the ACC, 2 from the Big 12, 2 from the SEC, 1 from the Big 10, and 1 from the Mountain West. The conference records of these teams: 9-9, 9-11, 8-10. 3 of them were 7-11, so that's really the sweet spot, right? 6-12, and then San Diego State, the one outlier, was 14.
I would take the top 4 Atlantic. There's not an Atlantic 10 team in there.
Correct, because the top 2 Atlantic 10 teams who would have unquestionably both been in under this format were SLU and VCU. SLU got in as safely as an at-large, so we would not have been part of this. And then VCU won the conference tournament, and so they were above the line of a play-in as well.
Would VCU be on this list had Dayton won the conference tournament?
Yeah, so that's the one thing, is VCU was right on the cut line 2 years in a row and happened to win the conference tournament both years. So VCU either would have been the last team safely in or the first team in a play-in game. So they may have been an 11 in a play-in game in either one of those years. Very, very close. I think last year they would have been in a play-in game, and this year they would have been like one of the last 2 teams in. Not in a play-in game.
I really just, give me Dayton over any of those power I say that with a lot of grit in my teeth. Like,
oh yeah, no, no one hates Dayton more than we do, but Bovair said it, Schertz said it, Trey Green said it. Like, Dayton was a top 25 team for all.
Yes.
conferences. And when we played them the last two times, they were playing very, very high level basketball. The problem was the first two-thirds of the season, three-quarters of the season, they weren't playing that level of basketball. But yeah, you're right. Like these teams, these are disappointing power conference teams. They're not fun teams. They're underachieving, overpaid teams is really what they are. So give me more details of your reaction here, Zach. We gotta boo. You gotta give me Dayton.
It's depressing, man. Yeah. Like it's just like I understand that not like I'm coming to terms with the fact in this life that nothing is guaranteed. Nothing's the only guarantee is that like things are people are gonna do some stupid shit, and things are gonna be like things like we talked about that too big to fail. How many programs in NCAA Division I basketball are too big to fail?
Oh, I mean, if you're in one of four conferences, they are trying to do that. Because if you'll notice what conference was not included in who got in an extra team is the Big East. Yeah. And this was probably the worst team the Big East has had in its current format, this 11-team format. It was weaker this year than it has been. But they were done no favors by this. And so that's where I'm wary of all of the people who say this is good for the A10. Like, yeah, it gets us some more bites at the apple, but we still have work to do. We still have work to do that a 6-12 team from the SEC doesn't.
Yeah. And this is why I would like the redistricting.
That's right.
I'd like to redraw the maps, please.
Put them in geographic zones. Well, let me ask you this. D1 basketball is 365 teams this year. It's expanding to 366 this summer, which is what it will be when this
too goddamn many
is introduced. Yes, I agree, but there were 282 teams when the tournament expanded to 64. So is this just a proportional increase in the tournament to keep up with D1 growth? Do you think that's a valid argument?
No, because legitimately, tell me how many of those, like how often do the 84 teams that have joined Division I, how many of those still have yet to make the tournament?
Yeah, it's right. That's the right point. Is those are not the teams benefiting. It's the teams that were already in Division I for the longest time. Those are the ones who are benefiting. Yes. So it's like, yeah. You keep coming in. You're not going to get anything out of this. We are. You're just making money for us. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, you're absolutely right there. All right. So then let me ask you this: Chris May, Bernadette McGlade of the outgoing A10 commissioner, and then Josh Schertz have all spoken positively about this development. How much do you think that is them kind of having to say this? How much do you think they actually do believe this benefits SLU, the Atlantic 10, in college basketball?
Dude, I don't understand how they can look at this and not like this is how I don't know how any of those three can look at this and say for St. Louis University, this is a good thing, or for mid-major basketball. Let's say I think SLU is a special case, is on the list of special cases for which the A10 is on a special case for which this exists. Mm-hmm. But for mid-majors and low one bid teams, this is nothing for them.
Yeah,
they're one bid leagues. Nothing's going to change that.
Yeah, and now they're just going to have weaker seeds than they did before.
Yes,
they're all being moved down. Like, look at how many 15 and 16s there are.
Yes,
coming from conferences that used to get 12s.
Yes,
like the Patriot League and the MAC, the MAAC. Like those were the teams that you didn't want to play at 12 and 13, and now those teams are 15s and 16s.
Yeah, what a convenient result. Unbelievable.
I will say because of that effect, you do increase the odds of 15s and 16s winning, which had never, ever happened until the last decade or so. When UMBC and Fairleigh Dickinson won as 16 seeds. Now that the 16 seeds are so much stronger, I think that there's a better chance of that happening.
I think the field does get. I think it's interesting. Like, and none of I don't. Do any of these people care about winning a national championship? Like, like if national championship and Final Four is something, you're giving more games you got to win.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. But I mean, I think if you're the kind of if you're
I know it's not. It doesn't matter for the peons, man. It's stupid. It's stupid. It doesn't make sense. I don't know. Like, what incentive do they have to be on board with this if it so clearly doesn't? Like, if Schertz wants to say, it's good for coaches, I'll say, and I'll be like, that's very forward, but you're right.
It is, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
if you can go 6-12 in the SEC and make it as an at-large bid, your job is protected for one more year, and a lot of them have incentives in their contracts.
But then, okay, so how long until the schools start saying, whoa.
Yeah.
You got to the first round. Okay. No. You didn't get to the second round. Yeah. So unfortunately, that's just not going to do it for us here at Oklahoma.
I think the automatic extension that a lot of them have in their contracts when they make a tournament, that's something that I think, even as contracts have gotten more and more coach friendly over the years, like we're seeing 6 and 7 year deals now, automatic extensions and all of those for the tournament. Now that making the tournament means less, I think you almost have to write it as, like an at-large bid that doesn't play in one of those. However you want to phrase that in the contract.
I'm just curious the knock on how long until we start to see that adjustment. I mean, it has to be reasonably quick. It's a lot. I truly don't know what the A10 is going to get out of this.
We're going to get an extra team every once in a while. We've already talked about where VCU was, like right at the cut line the last couple of years.
And we still could be a one-bid league.
There's a chance that could happen.
I mean,
because look at what Dayton did this year. Dayton had a really good non-conference schedule, and they just didn't do enough against it. Or the year before, Dayton did really well against a non-conference schedule, looked like an at-large team, and then lost its first 3 A10 games against like Duquesne and 2 other teams it wasn't supposed to lose to. LaSalle, I can't remember who beat them, but 3 teams in a row beat them who shouldn't have beat them, and they went from looking like an at-large team to not having a chance at an at-large bid. And that's where it's a really fine line for us, and we don't have the luxury that those other ones do. Let me give you a few more just kind of quick hits, other reasons I don't like it. Number 1, Zach, the impact on teams in the rest of brackets, in the rest of the bracket that are trying to scout opponents. This is now more work. It's twice the work on a coaching staff that has safely made the rest of the tournament. We're not playing in a play-in game. We're a 6 seed about to play an 11, but instead of knowing who we play, now we have no chance of knowing who we play. It's a 50-50, right? So it's double the work on a bunch more coaching staffs now trying to scout. And I know, boohoo, coaching staffs, whatever. But let me give you another one. It's a lot more work for fans because you now have so Dayton, those play-in games on Tuesday and Wednesday are super chaotic. You have 8 fan bases rushing in all of a sudden to these games, and then having a really short turnaround time to get to Orlando or San Jose or Buffalo or wherever their next game is. Now you're essentially tripling that effect. And I don't think it'll just be Dayton. Dayton can't accommodate all of it's going to be at least 1 more, if not 2 more sites. I've heard people stumping for Vegas and some other places.
Oh,
I know.
No.
Everything's going to Vegas now. I hate it. But Dayton cannot physically. Dayton does not have the hotel rooms. It cannot physically accommodate even in one arena, you would have to start playing games at like 9 in the morning.
Might I suggest St. Louis?
Sure. So
a Chaffetz Arena, perhaps.
But now you have fan bases. So it's 12 games. So it's 24 teams worth of fan bases playing on Tuesday and Wednesday, and half of them now playing on Thursday or Friday. It's a nightmare for fans having to do that, and you've now done that to 3 times as many fan bases.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really, I think that's kind of a, it's
you
just
you almost just have to start that first round on Thursday, and I don't know. Like I don't know what you do. I mean, do you do it on like?
I still think it's going to be Tuesday, Wednesday.
I mean, would you put it in? Would you put it in the? Could you play it the day before? But then you get, then you like, do you get
the
rid
selection
of
show is on Sunday? You can't.
Okay,
like it's too hard to play.
No, so Monday. What you would do then is basically erase the site. You would get rid of Dayton as a site altogether, and those games would then be played at wherever the second round sites are at.
I see. So you would have a fixed spot for like, okay, like these. Okay. Right. I see what you're saying. So like, here are all of the spots in the bracket, like with play-in games. So those games have to be, I mean, good luck having, because you're playing these
an
in NHL arenas.
Yeah.
And so like you're playing them during the NBA and NHL season.
Yeah.
Good luck getting them to block off like 6 days in a row.
Yeah. I mean, maybe
you have a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Here, do we have the first round sites yet?
Yeah, for just Google 2027 tournament. They're out there already. Now, I will say Dayton is guaranteed to have at least 4 games again this year, right? But I don't think they do beyond that.
So could you then, hold on, hear me out. You do March 16th, 15th, and 16th, whatever, right? So the games that would feed into PPG Paints Arena could be played at Duquesne, right? The games that are in Omaha at Creighton could be played at University of Omaha. The games that feed into Fort Worth, I'd have no fucking idea. What's in Fort Worth?
TCU.
Sure, TCU.
Yeah.
Did you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Basically find a smaller arena that you could host the play-in games that would feed into that arena. That way the arena, like, you just...
Now, but the other challenge there, University of Dayton Arena is 14,000 seats. Duquesne is less than half of that. So like you do run into challenges there as well. Like, are you going to have 14,000 fans at once? No, but over the course of 2 games,
correct,
you're going to have people filtering in and out.
I mean, but then again, how many of those fans are, again, local fans? Okay,
sure.
So what I'm saying is essentially that game would be, you just shut out the local fans. Because what you're going to do is have the tickets to each of the schools. They're going to sell their tickets, and then what's ever left is going to be local because nobody's going to travel there. So I don't think that could be as big of an issue because Dayton, people plan around Dayton. So what you're going to get when you're not planning around Dayton is you don't know. I mean, I guess you're not planning to go to the first 4, right? Or the first round, whatever. So I do think like, Louisville could be hosted at Bellarmine.
Sure.
Charlotte, where I don't know any of the schools in Charlotte. There's a million of them. But yeah, that's my take on it.
Yeah. I think there are solutions, but like none of them are perfect. The fact of the matter is you've just bloated this thing too much, and I think that takes me to my next point. Is I'm just tired of playoff bloat. I think there is scarcity does make things special. Every major sports league is guilty of it, regular season or playoff bloat. And it doesn't, it's making every game mean less. And that bothers me, but it brings me into my last point, Zach. And I think this is a really, really underrated aspect of all of this. People are excited that Monday, Tuesday in the office to have their brackets, whether they're printing them out old school style or doing it on ESPN or Yahoo or CBS or whatever they're doing it on. It's fun to sit down the first couple days of that week, Monday, Tuesday, and start figuring out who you're going to pick, where, and why. Now you have all of these slots where you don't know who the team is. And it's like, well, I really like, Clemson at number 6 here if they play Indiana as a number 11, but I don't like them if they have to play, Oklahoma as a number 11. I don't like that matchup as well. And I won't know until Wednesday at 11:30 p.m. what the outcome of that game is.
Yeah.
People want to fill out their brackets before Thursday, and now they can't do that because so many games are going to be undecided. And they're like just over the course of Tuesday and Wednesday going to be, how many times do you want to log into your brackets and kind of change and plug away? And I guess some people already do, but most casual fans are not going to devote an entire week to this and look at the outcome of every game. You're going to look at a bracket where so many slots, you don't even know who the team is. And I think that really puts a damper on casual fans. I really think it does.
It's funny that you see a lot of people that talk about how they don't do things for sickos. But this is one of those times where they were like, yeah, we're going to do something for the sickos. The sickos didn't want it.
No.
The casuals aren't gonna like it.
No, this is a very small, group of people kind of rewarding themselves, and no one was asking for it.
Yeah. It's stupid. They should not do this. Anyone who says differently is wrong. And I'll die on that hill.
As will I. Yeah, sorry.
Pete, we have it abbreviated around the A10, but first, I need a full-length ad read for our good friends over at 2 Men in the Garden.
Yeah, that's easy to do this week, Zach, because lo and behold, it's the middle of May as we record this, which means that pool season is just around the corner. Our pool is opening up, community pool here in the neighborhood, opening up in the next week or two. And that got me to thinking about how much time we're going to be spending up there this summer, getting a little house renovation project done. My kitchen is going to be out of commission for like 4 months, which means it's going to be a lot of outdoor picnics. Too. It's you know what? I appreciate the sentiment, but it needs to be redone. It's a little stale. So we're getting it redone along with a couple other things. And this summer, that means we're going to have a lot of picnic dinners up at the pool. We're going to be, relying on a lot of outdoor meals. And I don't think there's anything that goes better with your outdoor meal, your picnic dinner, picnic lunch, whatever it is, than chips and salsa. It's kind of just a staple at our family gatherings. And you can't do better than 2 Men in a Garden. Always fresh, always tasty. It is the flavor of summer. We promise you. Go over to 2meninagarden.com. Tell them we sent you in the comments. Even enter our code MMP at checkout for free shipping. It works. Is it still active? It's still active.
Yes, I forgot to mention in the opening ad read. We're gonna get strongly worded email for that.
So check them. Do all of the above, and then check them out on social media as well. 2 Men in a Garden for your flavor of the summer. You will not be disappointed.
All right, Pete. Let's talk transfer portal. A little, just a smidge of information this week. Why don't you go ahead and take this one?
Yeah, just 3 in the last 2 weeks. It has slowed down to a trickle. Andrew Phillips from Lafayette is headed to George Washington. They've now got pretty much everybody who left replaced with newcomers. Down at St. Bonaventure, Ari Fulton from the New Jersey Institute of Technology, or NJIT, if you ever wonder what that stands for as it crosses your screen with scores, is heading to Bonaventure to replace one of the 10 guys that left that program. St. Joe's did a little in-conference poaching, not officially poaching. He had to go. Sean Logan from Davidson, I think he graduated, and once you graduate from Davidson, you can't stay. But he's heading over to St. Joe's. Likes the A10 so much, he's going to stay there. And Zach, that's it. There's a few guys who announced like where they're going. Christian Fermin from VCU is going to Tennessee. There's a couple others who announced where they're going, but that's it in terms of comings and goings in the portal this week.
Yeah, it's not. We're getting close. It has to be coming to an end at some point, right? Like we have to
Yeah,
be
I mean,
like on a national stage, right?
it's been closed to new entrants for a while. So now you just have the kind of trickle of guys who are still, making up their minds, schools that still need to fill a spot or two. There's not much activity left.
Pete, let's head over to women's basketball. The Billikens got a few commitments. Honestly, right now, I mean, this is a much improved team. Immediately,
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree with you. And they're not done. I don't think they're done. I still think they've got to, fill a couple spots. But the commitment last week was Tiana Bailey, a 5'10" junior guard from Charleston Southern. She started her career at St. John's before 2 seasons at CSU. And I guess that means 2 more seasons to play if the new rule kicks in time. Maybe just 1, though. She's originally from Newark, New Jersey. And down at Charleston Southern this season, she averaged 31.1 minutes per game, 17.3 points a game, 7 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 1.2 steals, and 3 turnovers a game. Put up a slash line of 403 from the field, 316 from 3, over 75% from the free throw line. She averaged 5.5 3-point attempts last season. She's more efficient than Nelson or Nugent that, at SLU was. But you'd still like to see those field goal numbers. I think the percentages anyway go up a bit. I'm not sure they will against stronger competition. So even if she's at that level, I think that is a help. She's not much of a distributor, as you can see with that assist to turnover ratio. Watching some film on her, I wouldn't say she's quick, but she's pretty crafty with her footwork. She's like when you watch her, it looks like she's kind of gotten into trouble in traffic, and then it's like a series of pivots, head fakes, reverses, whatever it takes to kind of get a shot off, and she somehow manages to make it still legal.
They call that the Avila.
Yeah, she's really crafty that way. She's got that that old school YMCA kind of craftiness to her game. She was the leading scorer on a bad team in a bad conference. Does that translate to an A10 starter? I hope so. I think it could. We saw Tillett bring some of her players from the Big South up to SLU, and I think a few of them did indeed translate. Kyla McMakin, for example, Kennedy Calhoun, they were both starters, so it can be done. She put up good numbers there. And then, fun fact, her brother's Tyler Tybo Bailey, a 6'2" guard.
Not Billy Blanks Tybo.
Not that Tybo, spelled differently, Tybo.
I mean,
not the workout craze from the 90s.
That's frustrating. Now
Too
I'm
bad. If her brother were Billy Blanks, well, number one, the age gap there would be weird. It's been a while.
That would be odd. I think that some might say impossible.
I think so.
Typo. I don't remember how it was. It was like that. Yeah, you remember. You did it. You jumped in and did the tapes when someone had it on in the house.
I just remember the never-ending ads for those tapes. It was all the time.
It's the best.
Yeah.
So what is SLU? What do the Billikens still need from the portal?
I would feel a lot better if I felt like they still had one more starter coming in, right? I think there's still a lot left out there in the portal, and yeah, that top level talent is mostly shuffled around, but I still think there's somebody who could start at this program out there. They still need shooting, they still need ball handling. Both of those things are being addressed, but I still think we're at least 1 or 2 players short from truly addressing those all the way. So there's 3 scholarships left. SLU plans to use at least 1 or 2 of them. You've got the 6 returners in Bergstrom, Brown, Deney, Kirkenmeyer, Tiggett, and Wallace. The 3 freshmen are Ikpatoken, Olafson, and Shane. And then you've got 3 transfers so far in Bolds, Spink, and Bailey. So
the law firm of Ikpatoken, Olafson, and Shane.
It's so catchy.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, so
I like the way you said her last name. I really I like it.
I'm taking my best stab at it. I'm willing to be wrong, but
all right, what'd you go with?
Ikpatoken.
Okay, Ikpatoken. I love it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic.
I'm glad, we're both Irish, so I should know how to pronounce it.
Got it. Got it.
But yeah. Anyway, so you see the roster taking form. Those 6 returners are crucial. We're building around Kirkenmeyer, which is crucial. I just think they're just another player or two from really being locked into where they need to be. And I agree with you that this team is definitely improved from last season.
Pete, a coaching staff position opened up for at SLU, and our guy Brian Conklin had to throw his hat in the ring. Unfortunately, he was not selected. He got the rejection email.
He might have been a little late to the party on that one.
Anyway, Kentura Jackson. Kentura.
I think it's just Katura. There's no
Katura. Oh, sorry. I'm only wearing one contact, people. I'm sorry. I'm flying. Katura Jackson. Sorry. She was announced as a new assistant coach on Wednesday. She replaces Jimmy Colleton. He took an assistant coaching job at Wake Forest. She spent the last 3 years at Fordham. She was at Northeastern before that. Also has experience as a high school head coach. Served as a special assistant at Duke, her alma mater. We won't hold it against her. As a player, she was an All-ACC defensive player and made it to an Elite Eight in 2010. A year Duke also won the conference title. Pete, does that say anything about where the assistant coaching salary is for SLU?
Well, she's young, right? Like not super experienced.
I meant Jimmy Colleton is going to Wake Forest. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I think there are probably just some limitations there, right? I mean, he's been around. I don't know his whole background.
I thought he was the associate head coach here.
I don't think he was. I would
I'll look it up.
Across the board, I think the staffs are just going to be higher. The salaries are just going to be higher.
Yes.
At Wake Forest. So if he was going to a similar level job, it's just going to be more competitive there.
He was the associate head coach.
Oh, he was. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So gotcha. So the fact that that's not going to be his title at Wake Forest.
He serves as an assistant coach. Yeah. Working primarily with the team's perimeter players and coordinating the defense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess, the ACC is just flat out going to pay more.
Sure. Oh, no. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I kind of just made I really don't think that's an issue. That's not.
Yeah, did I say SEC? I mean ACC if I did.
Yeah, it
sorry.
Matter.
Yeah, just so we don't get notes.
They're all the same.
Yeah. But yeah, best to him, obviously. And yeah, she's young. She comes from Fordham. Fordham wasn't great last season, but I like the background coming from Duke. She was a real winner as a player, all defensive player. That's definitely a profile that I think fits in with the identity of the program for sure.
Hey, let's talk about men's soccer. Big seismic level news in the college soccer ranks. The NCAA has basically decided to reshape the entire soccer season, something we've talked about, but they are officially going with it starting in 2027, sounds like.
Yeah, August 1st is the technical effective date in 2027. It's too late to do it this year, right? I mean, all of a sudden, if you're restructuring the calendar for places that guys are starting to show up on campus in the next couple of weeks, I don't think that would really work. But they did officially adopt the 2-semester schedule idea that we discussed, as you said, on the show a few months ago, when the idea was originally formally floated. Overall schedules are still going to be limited to 25 games. Teams can play a maximum of 18 in the fall between late August and the Sunday before Thanksgiving. Then there's a big gap, right? And the maximum number of games in the spring is 10. Then they can start in mid-February with those and go through the start of the NCAA tournament season, which is presumably also going to include conference tournaments. So it'll still be more fall than spring, and there's going to be a big gap for winter, basically. And then a 15-day transfer window opens the day after the title game, the NCAA championship game. So, Zach, they say the benefits of this, and these are their words: a more balanced academic and athletic experience by reducing time demands in any single term. Number two, a decompressed playing season with potentially fewer midweek games, resulting in in less missed class time and promoting stronger academic performance and degree completion. Number three, a more predictable weekly schedule across fall and spring. Four, opportunity for enhanced recovery time between matches, which could support injury prevention and return to play protocols. And then number five, stronger integration into campus life and deeper engagement with teammates and coaches. Do you buy this, Zach? I mean, do you think the benefits are all legit, and do you like the change to this format?
So this is interesting. First of all, I think it's important to note that this is not it's earth-shattering change, but it's not a groundbreaking thing.
No.
Like tennis does this. Track and field does this. Cross country, throw them in there. Swimming and diving, more winter, but like I like it, I guess. I don't care either way. It doesn't matter to me. I think it's going to be wonky. It's going to be interesting for a minute. You brought up the maximum number of games. Mm-hmm. I checked in on the schedule from this past year, and actually SLU only did play. They played I think they played 18 non-conference games. Okay. Or sorry.
18 regular season games?
Yeah, non-conference games. And then I don't know what they did for maybe I counted wrong now that I'm thinking about it. I may have. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm very confused. I don't know if I like the way they split it up with 18 and 10. I screwed up.
So SLU wound up playing 24 games this season, including those NCAA tournament games. So they're within the limit even without the tournament run.
Yeah.
So I think they'll wind up with more games just spread out over a longer period of time.
So are they saying that they can play him? So are those maximum regular season games?
I think so. But I don't know what I'm not clear on yet. And I need to do a little more homework on this is how that incorporates the conference tournament.
Yes.
We would never play more than 3 games in the conference tournament. But do we have to, make sure you don't play more than 22 in the regular season? You know what I mean?
I would imagine it's literally they would only limit regular season games. I would imagine conference tournament games are not included.
The funny thing is,
I think that's why. But if you think about it, how many games you have to win the NCAA championship?
I think you would have to win 5.
5?
Because we played Kentucky first round, Indiana second round,
right.
Bryant third round, Akron quarterfinal, and then NC State in the semifinal. Okay, so sorry. So we would have to it would have to be 6 unless you have a first round bye.
So 6, you get to 31 games. So 6 and 3. So 10 on the back end. And you go into the conference tournament, that's 13 if you get through your conference tournament, and then 6 would be 19. So it does kind of balance out in that way. But since you're not playing any more than 18 in the fall, but I would imagine that the spring season will be solely the conference play.
Yes. Yeah, I would think so. Now, what's also not being discussed at the moment is that whole proposal, if you recall, that they were going to restructure, kind of blow up conferences in men's college soccer and go to four main regions, and then within each of those regions, you have your premier level teams, right? And so SLU would be that for the Midwest or whatever they're going to call it. And that would kind of it would completely restructure D1 college soccer
right
into the level of I don't know. It's almost like creating a different set of power conferences that are more regional.
It's basically redrawing the lines.
Correct. Yeah.
But not in any sort. I don't think it's in any sort of I don't think it's controversial. Honestly, I mean,
I, I
I think you still end up with like if you did that today to the entire NCAA,
mhm,
not a lot would change.
correct.
Nothing. I mean, you're still playing the best teams. It's just like we'd lose the Big Ten, all that thing,
Yeah, yeah.
all
Cal
that
and
conference
Stanford in the ACC,
realignment
right?
would just go away. And I think it would actually. I think it'd be in everyone's best interest to just kind of redraft.
Yeah,
Like,
I too am like let's get back to a little more regionalism,
yeah,
rivalries, things like that. I think are crucial.
and if you can like take the temperature again of
Mhm.
what these teams are willing to put in monetarily speaking and the budgetary like that's but then again then you get into like again schools that are gonna put everything into basketball and not soccer,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Soccer's the afterthought. So I mean they could be in a different conference or a different division in soccer than basketball. It's interesting. I think you could do it on an NCAA level with like total expenditures for your athletic department. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Where
yeah, yeah,
you so just take everybody holistically, I guess. But I like it. I like that proposal. I think it would benefit everyone at this point, just to kind of reset,
yeah,
because it's an absolute disaster. And I like the two seasons. It's going to be weird, but they kind of already do it anyway.
yeah.
You just don't. I
Nobody pays
think
attention to the spring games.
I think it's interesting. I mean, this the fact. I wonder if they knew if this was part of the reason that they dropped tennis. Again, that's another sport that needs a training staff
Hmm.
at their matches, and that goes winter and or fall and spring. So um, yeah,
Yeah,
it's gonna be. I think it'll be fine. I think it'll make the NCAA championship a bigger event.
yeah,
I think that's a possibility. Although there are a ton of spring sports that are kind of dominant. They dominate ESPN in
yeah.
lacrosse, softball, baseball. And now you're going to try to add another championship in there. Hopefully, it finds a place.
Yeah, the other thing here, Zach, it kind of hanging over all of this is the international,
Mm-hmm.
nature of the sport, and the calendar by going spring fall aligns a lot more,
Mm-hmm.
with that. And the other thing is cutting it into smaller regions kind of replicates the European model a lot more because those
Yeah.
guys like when you think about it, the Premier League, the biggest sports league, in the
Mm-hmm.
world, arguably is kind of a bus league, right? Like because
Yeah.
like the farthest these teams are traveling is like maybe 6 hours if you're going from like Bournemouth to
That's
Newcastle or something like that,
outrageous, man.
which is crazy. And are they hopping on a jet for that? Probably. But I mean, for all intents and purposes, most of what we think of as high level European soccer, they're hopping on a bus and going 2 or 3 hours at most. And it's just a lot. It's a lot to ask, especially of all of the international players that are now in the American game. They're flying all over the country to play college soccer in front of 200-300 people in some cases. It's kind of weird. So I do think kind of simplifying it in that way makes some
It,
sense
it
too.
it
Also,
would be
also aligning
interesting.
the calendar.
It would be interesting if they kind of again you look at the football split with the rest of the NCAA or that what I mean the non football sports versus football in that
Hmm.
football would kind of do its own thing and you could see you know the non rev sports kind of, or basketball and everything go with the new um, uh, conference alignment.
Yeah, I would love it. I mean, there are definitely when you get to football and basketball, now you're fighting a lot of moneyed interests that are probably
Yeah.
going to push back. But I would not mind at all seeing baseball, softball, some of those other sports like hop on board with that and kind of figuring it out that way. But I think for men's soccer in particular, it makes a whole lot of sense. But more to come on that front, and we'll see if that alignment really
Wait,
happens. But I think for now,
hold on. Did I miss the part where this isn't women's soccer too?
it's not women's soccer. It's
Holy shit!
Yeah. Because I think part of the thought when this was originally floated was with women's soccer, it's all women's college soccer is already so much more of a track to the pros, and American women's soccer is so much more competitive internationally. And yes, like those other countries, especially in Europe, have caught up in a hurry, and like in a major hurry. And I think that's something that they need to think about. But I think for now they're holding off on women's. There's not as much pressure in terms of calendar there, and they already still feel like there's enough solid pros coming out of the college ranks as it is.
Man, I mean, I would be in favor of it just to have more Billiken soccer in my life across. The only problem here, though, is that our springs, it's going to be a little heavier.
It is. Although it does take some, we have the good fortune of having both an excellent men's and women's program right now.
Yeah.
So our fall is pretty packed, and it'll be nice to take a little pressure off of that as we continue basketball.
Yeah. It'll be interesting again to, competing just with all the other, it's going to be harder to get to baseball now. I got to pick a game to go to in the spring. It's going to be like soccer. Soccer is going to be number one. And
yeah, but I think for the most part, you're looking at one soccer game a week, so it's going to be, I think that'll be mostly the pattern, right?
It'll be good. It's going to be good, to quote Tobias Funke.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. And I know, I think the Billiken coaching staff is completely on board too.
Yeah, I think so.
Pete, why don't you take us over to the Diamond to talk about what baseball's been up to? Because, weird stuff happening this weekend.
They took us on a ride the last couple of weeks, Zach, and I wish I had known before they swept Fordham last week that it was only going to be a 6-team tournament this year and not 7 like it was last year. There are 12 teams in the Atlantic 10. The top 7 last year and the years before that went to the tournament, right? The 1 seed got a bye. Everybody else played that first day. Now they're doing it like softball does, where only 6 teams make it, which is tough because it's a 12-team league, so that's only the top half. But after sweeping Fordham last week, which they did, SLU still would have mathematically been in it heading into this weekend. But given that it's only 6 teams, they were really out of it. So first off, they lost 10-1 at Lindenwood on Wednesday the 6th. Didn't matter. They go up to the Bronx, and I told you the week before, I was like, they need to sweep Fordham if they want to have a chance. And they did. Friday the 8th. 4-0 win. Ben Cherico became one of 2 pitchers in the nation to throw 2 complete game shutouts this season. Just not something that happens in college baseball. Later that day,
Bryant Cotton is losing his shit with all the complete games he threw. He threw like 16 innings in one game.
It just doesn't happen anymore. 7-2 win on game 2 on Friday, and then they had weather on Saturday. 7-6 win on Sunday. So they did it, but came to find out after that it didn't really matter. And then this weekend they play Richmond at home. Thursday the 14th they lost 4-1. SLU's only run came on a Hank Gomrich sac fly. Lauren Georgia was solid with 2 earned runs and 7 strikeouts in 6 innings. They lost again on Friday the 15th, 2-0 to Richmond. Cherico here was untouchable. He had a no-hitter basically going into this through the first 7 innings. Then he gave up 3 hits in the 8th, on which Richmond scored 2 runs. He struck out 8 overall, and that was all they needed in terms of runs. Zach, on Saturday the 16th, we got an all-time sickos classic college baseball game. It took all season, but in the final game on senior day,
absolutely outrageous.
We finally got that game that we crave. 50 runs, 26-24 loss. Just amazing. It took 4 hours to play. It's hard to know even where to begin. SLU jumped out to a 5-0 lead after 1, and you're feeling pretty good after that, right? Richmond answered with 8 in the second. Things kept getting more absurd from there. The game had 40 combined hits, 5 errors, 20 base runners were stranded, believe it or not, which means 70 overall base runners in this game? Just wacky stuff. Each team used 7 pitchers. Dylan Gourmont did not allow a run in the last 2 1/3, but everyone else in the Billiken staff got hit pretty hard. Hank Gombrich's led Slew with 5 hits. Chase Beatty had 6 RBIs to lead the team, and 5 different Billikens scored 3 runs apiece. Only 2 home runs, Beatty and Crew Bond. But Zach, that was an absolutely wild, wild game.
I just went to the single game records of the NCAA Division One, and yeah, I don't know what to say, man. Look, we talked about it with Rock. We've had and one of our followers mentioned that we've had basketball games that have scored less points in.
Yes.
It's
a football score.
Yeah, I don't know. It's such a weird way for a weird season that started off weird and just kind of stayed that way.
Yeah. But looking at the season on the whole, the final record was 20-34, 11-19 in the A10, which was good for 9th place. They dealt with a ton of injuries this season, especially in the pitching staff, especially among guys who were supposed to be starters. Josh Cunningham went down, and he was supposed to be the number 1 guy, right? And it just kind of rippled from there. So I think there was a lot that was left on the table this season had they not been so hurt. Miles Miller had the interim tag removed. We hope he's the right guy. Yeah. Obviously, wish him the best. We'll see how they bounce back from this one, though. Did
you mention that Max McGuire pitched?
Oh, he pitched a lot this season.
Yeah. I had known he could. I just hadn't. Every time I turn on, it was never him throwing.
Usually middle relief for 1 or 2 innings.
4, 5, 6, 8 people got hit by pitches in this one.
Is that what it was? That's one of the many stats I decided to leave off because it was just so goofy.
Yeah, 8. How many errors in this one?
5.
5 errors. Just 5?
Just 5 because so many guys got hit, and there plenty of walks in there too.
My goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my. Let's move on. Softball, Pete. Atlantic 10 postseason awards. Junior third baseman Abby Olsis was named to the first team all conference. Sophomore pitcher and outfielder Anna Christ was named to the all academic team. The A10 championships did not go well. The Billikens lost 2 straight and were eliminated pretty expediently. 4-2 loss against 3C Dayton on Thursday the 7th. Dayton beat the Colonials / Hippos / Revolutionaries to advance. SLU had a first round bye as the 2 seed. You can decide whether that's good or a bad thing. SLU took a 1-0 lead on a Carson Janney solo shot in the 3rd. Dayton scored 3 in the next inning. SLU stranded 12 runners in the game, going 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position. You can't win, for the most part, doing that. They followed that up with a 6-3 loss against 5C St. Joe's Thursday the 7th. The second chance bracket. I'm learning it's called the silver bracket now, not the gold bracket. That's just in like the tournaments that I've never mind. But the Billikens held a 3-1 lead heading into the 6th. That's when St. Joe's got 1 back. Then the Hawks scored 4 more in the top of the 7th. And you kind of thought that was going to do it just the way everything had been going. Kate Profit did get a solo shot, and Abby Olsis and Carson Janney drove in the other 2 runs. Final record for the season, 23-28, 13-10 mark in conference. There was no press box.
No, just a tent.
Yeah.
But the good news, Zach, is Dayton lost to Loyola.
I'd love to see that.
They blew a 7-0 lead and lost.
I did see that.
They lost 8-7 on a walk-off. And I was like, go Loyola. I was so happy about that, to see
That's
Dayton blow it.
So, yeah, I might go back and watch that on ESPN.
Silver linings. Yeah, exactly.
Track and field, Pete, running and throwing.
Yeah, so the first round of the NCAA West will be on May 27th, just over a week from now in Fayetteville, Arkansas. It's still not official yet. We should know soon. But it looks like Tristan Boatman in the hammer throw and Maddie Rold in the javelin will safely be in. Sam Lamaze, at last we check, is not a lock for the 400, which is crazy to me because he's been so good in that. And then Clara Gillen in the steeplechase and Dalton Perry in the javelin also have a chance to go. So we'll update you and let you know who makes it in eventually, Zach.
Tennis. End of the program awards. Yeah. This will be the last time, I think.
End of the program awards. Wow. Not end of season.
Congratulations to my all-time favorite tennis player, David Welkener. Now he's a good buddy of mine from when I was at school. I got to play him a couple times. He kicked my ass all around the court. But shout out to him. Shout out to all the tennis alums.
Yeah.
It's a bummer. Emerson White was named first team all conference. Andres Castellanos was named to the second team. Both made the all academic team. As far as swimming and diving goes, Sky Evans was named as a new assistant coach. She comes to Salute from Ohio University, where she was a grad assistant specializing in diving and middle distance freestyle, individual medley, and breaststroke events. Graduate of Utah Tech. She was a manager for the swimming and diving team. She has a master's in coaching education from Ohio. She did some club coaching and private lessons during her time at both OU and Utah Tech. Pete, that is going to do it. A long episode because we love the listeners so much.
Yeah, Zach, that was a big one. As we wrap up spring sports, as we had a lot of news over 2 weeks to cover, but we've got more good stuff coming for everyone soon.
And likely a change in record and release schedule.
Yes.
Given that we're hitting the end of the season.
Yeah.
So Pete and I will discuss that. I'm sure it won't be anything too different from last season. But thanks everybody for listening. Roll Bills.
Roll Bills.